JJ Jinx!
Truck stop!
Well, these were all the knives that I got from last month's Smoky Mountain Knife Works package, and it's time to give them a review because I got the notification this morning that the next package has mailed out. It says it's going to be here tomorrow. It rarely ever actually does that, though. I fully expect 6 or 7 p.m. will roll around and it'll suddenly say, oh, make that Saturday or Sunday. That's just kind of the way it's been going. Strange thing, though, they normally ship out the next package at the end of the month, so it arrives at the beginning of the following month. I didn't see any notifications, so I called them up, and they said, oh, we're going to start shipping Monday. That was 4 days ago. So, I don't know. Bit of a delay this time, but that's okay, because I got a little bit of an announcement. I finally upgraded to the General's box. That's right. I'm kind of getting tired of the quantity over quality. Even though, some of them aren't too bad, it's just, I'm so far beyond my Bud K days that I kind of want a nice one once in a while. It was just a matter of time, really. I started off at the lowest tier, very quickly went to the mid-tier, now I'm on top, baby. And I told my girlfriend, and she was like, oh, of course, I was waiting for that to happen. I actually stopped carrying these last week, because I feel like I sort of learned everything I was going to learn about them. I'm going to start with this one. This is the Smith & Wesson Military and Police Bodyguard. I don't have any complaints about this knife. It carries well, pocket clip is good, lockup is good. It's got a fairly smooth mechanism. And for the price, it's adequate. But here's what I will say. I feel like I got the Ozark Trail $3 or $4 knife experience out of this thing. And this was more than $3 or $4. So what you can expect from something like this is an Ozark Trail experience. And I mean some of the later generation ones, the ones that are actually kind of decent, but with a Smith & Wesson logo on it. That's really where all the money's going. Now, as you probably know, this other Smith & Wesson knife is one that I only carried for a day in the previous package because it wasn't put together right, and it was the same knife, just a different color. But I was happy to give this one a chance because it actually was put together right. And I gotta tell you, I learned a thing or two, and I kind of like it. This was a big surprise for me, and here's why. First of all, I remarked my previous venture with this model. No flipper tab, no thumb stud. It kind of makes it hard to open one-handed. But I figured it out. So where the thumb nick is, you simply just have to push down and glide it open. Now you can open it one-handed. And that's when I realized, hey, I learned something. I actually really need, for a pocket knife that I like to carry, to be openable one-handed. I didn't really know how important that was until the option wasn't there. Unless it's a, slip joint classic folder style, then, well, they're not really meant for that. Although they do make those one-handed opening. The rust lock comes to mind. But anyway, the other thing that surprised me about this knife, now that I actually gave it a chance, is the hand feel. It's actually pretty comfortable. There's something about the knurling, it just kind of makes it feel, like something a mechanic would use. I don't know. It's just a vibe that I get from it. But no, the contouring, and together with the knurling, the ramp with the jimping, the unobtrusive pocket clip, there's a few things that this knife did right for me. So I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought, and as you just saw, you can close it one-handed because the opening is rather smooth, the lockup is rather good. Smith & Wesson surprised me with this one, and this one too, really. So even though these are cheap as hell and I would never take these onto a desert island, they surprised me. I enjoyed them more than I thought that I would. I guess I could talk about this Condor neck knife. My immediate experience with it is not very good at slicing. I thought about taking it to a whetstone and kind of sharpening up the edges a little bit, but it's just not really built for that. It's a stabbing knife, and as such, I didn't really get that much of a chance to use it properly. I mean, I use my knives for cutting and slicing, very rarely stabbing. So I feel like I can't really give this knife a fair review. I do like the look, for what that matters. The grind is actually very symmetrical, which, you know, for all the lines that are ground into this thing, that actually takes a little bit of care. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that this might have been handmade. Can't say that I care too much about the whole shoestring on the handle deal. That's just not my look, not my feel. I would say this is kind of a letter opener for me. Speaking of knives I don't have much to say about, the Spyderco Delica lightweight in all black. This is my third Tenacious and my second lightweight Tenacious. This is my OG Tenacious that you know, carrying this one around kind of made me miss it. So I opened it up and took it apart and cleaned it up and oiled it. And you can tell it's well used because it's got scratches and pitting in a couple of places. But with enough TLC, you can get it to drop shut onto your thumbnail. So yes, I carried this knife for many years and it is excellent. I love it. The lightweight is a little bit lighter, but it's all in the scale materials. Otherwise, they're pretty much identical. So I don't have anything additional to say. It's a good knife. And now I have 3 of them. All right, let's talk about the full-size Buck Bantam. I got to experience the miniature version last time. I really like this knife. It's got a cool look to it. And I did notice when I first opened it, there's these weird little white things in there. That's actually the Buck logo, and the snake skin pattern didn't quite make it all the way down to the bottom of that impression, so that's why it looks a little goofy there. One thing I did not like about this knife is the way that it's angled. It actually goes more into your pocket, so I actually did feel it a lot when I had it in there and I was trying to get my keys out or something. But it wasn't, you know, uncomfortable. I mean, it's plastic and all the metal parts are chamfered. There's nothing really that sharp for you to catch on. The pocket clip is a little tight, but once you get past that initial, you know, force barrier to get the denim to slip past, it just goes right in, and it's fine. Doesn't protrude too much. A really nice swedge to it. I don't know if that added anything to my experience, nor did it detract from it, but it is nicely cut and it's noticeable. So I think it looks nice. It is starting to get a little bit of blade play. There's nothing you can do about it because it's all riveted construction. So once it starts to go bad on you, just throw it away and get another one. It's like the IKEA chest of drawers of the knife world. I do dig the snakeskin look. It would go well with a pair of cowboy boots and a giant belt buckle. Although, I guess that would be more of a Bowie knife, not really one of these, huh? And I guess the other thing is it makes a pleasing click sound when it opens. Then we got this Rough Rider Warncliffe blade, a classic folder. This particular one I had a couple of issues with. Well, first of all, I think I pointed out when I first opened it, the grind is a bit weird out at the tip. It is not supposed to look like that. I got kind of a bad one. And I could send it back in, get a properly ground one, or I could regrind it myself, which I probably should do, for the practice. But I decided, you know what? I'm all in. I'm just going to carry it and use it as it is. And I had a pretty pleasant experience with it. I like this knife a lot. It wasn't as good, in my opinion, as that red sway back thing from last month, but it's a close second. I did get a bunch of scratches in the blade, and I'm not sure how, on both sides. I really don't know how those got there. Is it from rattling around in my pocket? I don't know. So because of the weird grind, it's got a bit of a blunt tip, and there were a couple of instances where I had to kind of stab and slice through, a plastic bag or something, and I did it, but, it took a little more oomph than it should have. So even though I didn't have a fair experience with this, I do have to say I love the look. The black and blue multi-layered micarta scales are excellent looking. It's a very clean construction. No gaps. I could do a little more polishing along the spring. If this were a case knife, it would be, but it's not a case knife. It's a budget Rough Rider knife. And only because I've already got experience with the Tenacious, I'd say that this one stole the show for me. Again, Rough Rider taking it home. Best in show, 2 months in a row. So after I stopped carrying knives from the Officers Club box, I put this into my pocket. I've had it for a while, and I've been wanting to talk about it, but I wanted to use it first. This is the SRM 9211. I will do a review on this knife as well, but in a separate video. But I gotta say, if I don't get around to it, and you're curious, pick one of these up. You can get them on Amazon, a few different colors, real cheap. But man, for the money, it's freaking great. If Smoky Mountain Knife Works had put this in last month's box, this would have been the star of the show. The patent on these expired a year or two ago, which is why you're starting to see them pop up everywhere, even on these cheaper budget brands. We'll just have to see if the Omega Spring lasts longer than it does from Benchmade. Well, I guess I'll keep you around to rip open the next box, and the rest of you are retired!